podcast. Today we're going to be doing a cosmetology episode to give you guys some more insight of a new course that's been in our school. And I'm Arlette, and I'm here with
Kiara,
Priscilla,
Kendra Allen.
Okay, we're going to be interviewing Miss Allen today, and hopefully she can help us out understand this new course. So what is the biggest difference between this course and a regular course?
I would say the biggest difference would be we're a lot of hands-on. So we have what we call theory, which is just essentially sitting in the classroom like you do with any other course. And then we move into the lab. We are in the lab probably 60 to 80% and in theory for about 20 to 40% of it.
Okay. What made you want to teach cosmetology?
I've been a hairdresser for 26 years. I've been in the industry for 26 years. And I knew, as a matter of fact, whenever I first started, when I was in school, that I wanted to be a cosmetology teacher eventually. Mm-hmm. And so that's always kind of been in the back of my mind. I never really wanted to actually own a salon and like run other people. But I did want to I had a suite. So I did my own thing, like a salon by myself. But this came about a couple of years ago, and I always knew I wanted to be a teacher and teach cosmetology and just hand those skills to kids so that they can continue and do the craft, you know. But so a couple of years ago, this came up where the bond was going to pass, and I heard about it, and I was like, okay, that's my job. Yes. I want that job.
Okay. I'm going to hand this, that way you don't have to turn around and look.
Okay,
that way you can have the questions for you.
Thank you. What is something students should know before signing up?
They need to know that this is hard work. It's a lot of hands-on, and there is a lot of schoolwork that goes into it as well. And we have to have hours. So the state requires us to be able to take our licensing exam. These kids will take their licensing exam at the end of their Cosmetology 2 year, which is their senior year. And so we have to have 1,000 accrued hours for the state for us to even be able to take the licensing exam. And so it's a lot of hard work. They have to be at school. They can't miss a lot. If they do, they have to make up those hours, and we have to actually account for them. And there is money involved. They do have to purchase a kit for their first year and for their second year, and there's additional supplies that they need throughout the year.
Okay. What aspects of cosmetology do you cover? Because I know cosmetology is kind of a wide range, like hair, nails, makeup, and everything.
Yeah, you pretty much said it all. Cosmetology is an umbrella. So whenever you say you're going to cosmetology school, a lot of people just think of like hair, but actually cosmetology, the actual license of cosmetology covers hair, nails, and skin. We do teach makeup, whereas a lot of people don't know that makeup you do not have to be required to have a license, but we do cover that because of the sanitization process of that. But we cover everything: hair, nails, skin. Now you can take other classes elsewhere that just cover esthetician, which is skin, or nail tech, which is of course nails, and take them by themselves. But if you want to do hair, you are required to take the entire cosmetology course.
Okay. What do you think is the hardest thing to learn in the course?
I would say hair coloring, which is what we're going to start. Ooh, yeah, we're starting that not next week, but the next. Hair coloring, people don't realize that there's a science behind it. There's a lot of chemistry behind it, and you have to know acids and alkalis and all of those kind of things, and know what your base color is and what you're trying to achieve. And just because you see a color on a swatch, you don't just grab that color and that becomes that color on that person's head. You have to take in consideration what their underlying pigments are and all things like that. So color's probably the hardest thing to learn, but it's also the most fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How does grading work?
Well, we're dual credit. So our intro class is just a class here at Deer Park. That's only required by Deer Park, but it's just a regular course. So the grading is exactly how you would grade any other course. When you get into Cosmetology 1 and Cosmetology 2, so it's dual credit. So we're with San Jack. So we grade just like we would a course here, for part of it. And then they also have to have grades for, dual credit. So really you're just graded on dual credit, and then that transfers over to here. So we're graded on San Jack. We use Blackboard and all of that. So it's a little bit different, but it's very similar. So you're on college credits instead of high school credits.
Okay. That's interesting because I feel like when I think of grading, I'm like, are they grading how good the hair turns out? Like, what if I mess
Part
it
of
up?
it is. Part of it is for sure.
Yeah.
Really, it's how much are you trying to learn what you're doing and are you bettering yourself? I'm not necessarily grading on what their end product looks like. That definitely goes into it. But in the beginning, are you doing the steps? Are you following the safety sanitation protocols? That's a lot of it with the state. But also, are you learning and are you understanding? Like with hair cutting, I ended up having to come back and do like a haircut boot camp because for a whole week, because I'm looking at their haircuts and you have to understand angles. So there's math involved. You have to understand your 90-degree angle and your 180-degree haircuts. They're actually named after angles. Ooh. So they have to understand that as well. So yes, we do grade on their finished product, but really it's more like, are you understanding and do we need to go back and redo this like we did?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
Do you have any students with experience in cosmetology already? Because I know like nail techs that are still in high school.
Yes. So we actually have, that's probably our biggest one that we have. We have a lot of girls who already do nails at home and they've just learned a lot behind the scenes. They were maybe not promoting themselves as a student and you have to do that. You have to say, I'm a student, I'm still learning, or they could actually get in big trouble with the state.
Yes.
And no, we actually have some girls that are really, really good at it. Some of their posts that they have done are just amazing. Some of the sets of nails that they've done, but that's probably the most common we have are like nail techs. And so they have experience because they just started as a kid. I actually did that too. I did that when I was like a freshman in high school as well. Yeah. I don't know that I was very good at it, but it's so funny because nails seem to be a thing that girls are really interested in. They kind of start beforehand, but it's nice because this is really polishing up their skills and helping them, like if they had issues, find out why they had issues with it.
What could a guy expect when signing up for this course?
So I don't know if y'all know this, but we do have one guy in our class. His name is Sincere Fonseca, and he is really, really great in that class. Now, from what I heard, we had some guys that wanted to do it to sign up for barbering, but then they found out we weren't offering barbering yet. So they dropped out because they didn't want to learn all the other stuff. Yeah. But what is interesting is what guys need to know if they do want to just become barbers. We have girls that want to be barbers too, but it seems to be very common for boys to want to come in and do barbering. In our licensing procedures, you actually do the first 700 hours. They're exactly the same. So they would learn every single thing, barbers will, every single thing that they are learning in cosmetology. And then for your last like 300 hours, it splits off and the cosmetology students learn lashing. So they'll learn how to do individual lash extensions and the barbers will go off and learn more barbering. So the difference between a barber and a cosmetologist is only that a barber can use a straight blade, like a straight razor that does not have a guard on it. So if you've ever seen them, they do like the really close shaves and that kind of stuff. Yes. Oh, sorry. So that's the only difference. And then the cosmetologists learn lashing. So barbers don't do lashes and cosmetologists don't use straight razors. So that's the difference. We will eventually probably hire a part-time barber to come in and finish off those 300 hours for the ones who do want to be barbers. Okay. Not quite yet though.
Would it be a good choice for guys? Sorry, I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. I think so. Like I said, I wish some of them would have stayed in because it's interesting and it's neat to have both, in our classes. He fits in super well with the girls. Like they love him. He's kind of like our little, mascot guy, he's just like, oh, Sincere. But no, he has a great time in there and they're all very welcoming to him. And I think he loves it. I think that he might like being the only guy for right now. I don't know.
What is your favorite part to teach?
The color. I really, really enjoy color. That was my specialty. I was a color specialist. So my favorite part to teach is color, but I really like it all. It's nice to be back and doing nails and skin. I'm kind of rusty at it, so I'm picking it back up again. But I learned all of this in school as well and have done some on my family and things like that. But when it's kind of riding a bicycle, once you've done it, but the technology is all very new. It's very updated and things like that. So that's nice. But I know my favorite is absolutely doing hair color.
Do you have to take this course like all 4 years? Because I know like the classes are like kind of like, I know they take like 3 up periods, like all your electives for it.
Okay. Do you want me to kind of explain the process and how okay. So we do not have a freshman class for this one yet. There is a possibility that we have a freshman one and it's principles of color theory. So they would start learning kind of your basics of color theory. And so to kind of get them an idea. And then in 10th grade, which is what we do now, we do not offer that freshman course. In 10th grade, we have what we call Intro to Cosmetology, and it is not a hands-on course, and you do not get hours from the state for it, but you do get a basic knowledge of it. If I could go back just a little bit, we used to be required to have 1,500 hours to get your license, and now it's only 1,000. So what Deer Park has kind of essentially done is taken what we would have had those 500 hours and kind of moved it to intro so that you guys are still getting the same teaching and the same level of instruction, but and if you just were to go to San Jack, you would just have those courses that were dual credit that get you your license. But it's kind of taken some of the things that are really truly needed, like your advanced skills and things like that, out of it, so they could get safety, sanitation, regulation, registration, all that taken care of. And so we have moved a lot of that to the intro part, so that whenever you move into Cosmetology 1, your junior year, you already have a lot of the basics. And so we just kind of quickly touch on them, make sure that they know all of them still. We have like a quick refresher course, and then we move straight into hair cutting. And so, your junior year, you start in Cosmetology 1 after you've done your intro for sophomore, and now everybody doesn't get in. So you have to have good grades, you have to come to school, you have to be productive and willing to really work. It is a lot of work. It's a lot of coming to class and listening to theory. So a lot of the intro students are like, oh my gosh, this is so much work. This is an elective. But what they don't understand is this is towards your career. So you're really learning things that are going to help you in your career and help you in Cosmetology 1. So in Cosmetology 1, we take the first semester, we take hair cutting and manicures, pedicures, things like that. And then I'm trying to think, facials are also that year. And then now we just did artificial nails. We were actually supposed to do advanced styling, but something happened with the hours. So now we're doing artificial nails, so acrylic and all of those. And now we're moving into hair color in another week. And then your second semester your second year, I'm sorry, your senior year is Cosmetology 2, and a lot of that is more refining skills, more chemicals, things like that, practicing those things as well. And then we go into our state board mock testing, where we really get them ready for the state board test. Okay. So it's 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah, for right now.
Once a student completes this course, is there a core letterman or certificates?
So right now, our kids are very interested in getting cords and lettermans. I'm going to probably, in the next year or two, come up with a cosmetology type club where some of the most gifted students are involved in that. We go to contests and things like that. So they should be able to get a cord for that. And then we're working on the letterman. I actually was just approached about that this week. And so they really want a letterman because, this takes up all of their electives for the most part, because like you were saying, so this year they're in for three classes. It's because they have to take intro because it's our first class. So they would have normally already had intro. So it's 2 classes your junior year, 2 classes your second part of your junior year, and then your senior year, though, it's 3 courses your first part, and then you have just 2 on your second part. So to go back and kind of backtrack. But their certificate, they will get their license. So we should be applying them all for testing at the end of their course. So when you guys are taking finals your last week of school, they should be taking their testing for their certificate, their license. And so we might have a certificate for Deer Park that you finished the course probably, but then your ultimate goal is to get your license.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, and I think we might have already answered this one, but for the grades that can take this, it's just a 3
It's a 3
right now.
Yeah, it's 10th, 11th, and 12th for right now, and then hopefully we'll add a 9th grade course.
Okay.
I think that's all the questions that we have gathered from other students. Is there anything that you would like to add that maybe we not have covered?
No, welcome. Everyone is welcome. We're really excited to have this program this year. This has been kind of a dream of mine, and so to see it actually be fulfilled, it's pretty neat. But everyone should come and try, or just at least come and look at the salon. It's really nice if you haven't been down. We welcome everybody to come and look and take a little tour.
Oh.
Well, thank you so much for coming. Yeah, we'll see y'all guys on our next episode.
Awesome. Thank y'all for having me.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.